Good morning. Well, here we are again. We're continuing our walk with Jesus through the Gospel of Mark. And we have actually come down to, if we would take the next verse in order, we talked yesterday about chapter 2, verse 13. Today, logically, we might look at chapter 2:14, but I'm actually going to save that. I'm going to wait until we get over into the third chapter of Mark to talk about 2:14, because in chapter 2, verse 14, it talks about the calling of Matthew. And I want to wait till we get into the third chapter where Jesus was calling all of the apostles together and identifying who they were, because there was an amazing diversity among them. And I want to group that all together. So that logically takes us to chapter 2, starting in verse 15, where we have the most wonderful story. Wonderful insofar as putting it in its context is so surprising. Jesus was spending time, he was eating with the sinners and the tax collectors. These were the outcasts. These were the people that didn't belong in polite society. The tax collectors were seen as traitors to Rome. The sinners were seen as, well, sinners. And most people didn't want to have anything to do with them. And yet here in this gathering that we see together, we see this gathering of sinners and tax collectors and those who are already disciples of Jesus, and they're all mixed together. They're mingling among one another. There were evidently many of them, and they were all there to hear Jesus. This is not what the religious people of that day expected to happen. Here comes Jesus claiming to be the Messiah. He is the Christ. And so they were expecting, in all of their self-righteousness, for Jesus to come to the leaders of the temple. Certainly he'd go to the Pharisees because they were so righteous, or he'd go to the scribes because they were so educated. He would go to those that were of the upper crust of the society, because here is God coming into their society. Who better for him to go to than those who were so deserving of his presence? Well, that's not the way Jesus looked at it at all. This is not what those people expected when they saw Jesus eating with the sinners and the tax collectors. This was so unexpected, but it was also so utterly unacceptable. Because why would Jesus go to those people? And yet, this story is so perfect. Jesus is not concerned about the divisions that people construct because of our own self-righteousness. He sees self-righteousness as being a sin in and of itself. He would call it hypocrisy. Jesus came to seek and to save the lost. And we know that all people are sinners. All fall short of the glory of God. But these self-righteous people didn't see it that way. They saw themselves as being the righteous ones, and therefore they were the ones that deserved to have the Christ coming to them first of all. But here's Jesus with the sinners and with the tax collectors. How much like them we are. Them, not the sinners and the tax collectors. How much like those arrogant Pharisees and scribes are we? We like being in a situation where everybody is already of the same mind, where everybody thinks pretty much the same, and everybody has their own idea, and it's a shared idea of what indeed is righteousness, and we're so comfortable in that. And when we look at the world that way, our view is so shallow. Jesus liked being with everyone. Jesus loved people. And he shared with everyone what was truly most important. He pointed out to all of them that they were all made in the image of God. Each of them had their own unique problems. Indeed, they each had their own understanding of things, but Jesus still loved them all. Likewise for us. We're all made in the image of God, and we each have our own unique problems, our own unique sinfulness, if you will, and we have our own understanding, however shallow that might be. But like all of them, we all also are sinners. We all fall short of the glory of God. Well, when Jesus was questioned about this, why are you eating with these people? Jesus gave a summary in verse 17. He said, "It is not those who are healthy who need a physician, but those who are sick. I did not come to call the righteous, but sinners." When we have the same self-righteous viewpoint as those scribes of the Pharisees, we do such harm to the kingdom. We damage the church. Because when we have an attitude like that, we are seen as arrogant. We're seen as judgmental. And the truth is that a great number of people do not even want to come among us because they're already feeling shame from their own brokenness. And all that they expect to experience when they come among us is condemnation, judgment, rather than love. What an amazing challenge it is for us to overcome that stereotype of being self-righteous. So, how do we do that? Well, maybe we need to spend more time looking at the life of Jesus as we are doing, understanding that he loved all people and that he was willing to spend time with the sinners and tax collectors. Maybe we need to also ourselves spend more time with those who are rejected in this world, those who are obviously the sinners, and those who are broken, those who feel rejected. Maybe those people are broken because of their own choices, but they're still broken people whom God loves. Those who are not seeking the status of this world, but see themselves as so broken as to never able to achieve any kind of recognition in this world, are exactly the people that Jesus would be going to, because he is the one who gives us value. He's the one that lifts us to a higher level of life. It makes me wonder where Jesus would go if he came into our town here of Clinton, Oklahoma, or wherever you are. Where would Jesus go in your town? With whom would he be spending his time? Would all of his friends simply be those that are already in the church? Or would he be doing something to reach out to those who are broken? Where was never really the question. The question always was who. And Jesus cared about those people, those broken sinners. He loved them, and he came for them. We're broken. We're sinners. He came for us. He came to share with us life and to give us a new start. He came to cleanse us of that which was so devastating. He came to give us this new life. Jesus loved people. He loved the sinners, and he loved the tax collectors, and he loves you, and he loves me. Those people obviously needed so much help. So Jesus went to them. If we can just recognize that we too are in need of that, we'll spend more time with Jesus, not as the arrogant Pharisees and scribes, but as those who recognize our own brokenness. I am so grateful that Jesus went to eat with the sinners and the tax collectors. In that, he demonstrates his love. Think about who you talk to today. Have a great day. Bye.
They resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Words of life, words of hope.